All right, today we are diving headfirst into the lyrics of a really powerful modern emo ballad, Grave of My Words by NecroVeil. We're going to deconstruct this thing to uncover a pretty intense story about love, loss, and that deafening silence that comes after. Right out of the gate, the song just hits you with its most haunting line. I mean, it's the title, it's the core of the chorus, and it's really the central mystery that we're here to unpack. It's such a beautifully tragic phrase, but what is it actually getting at? And that's the big question, right? That's what we're going to explore together. We're going to unpack all of the grief and this idea of language just failing, all of it packed into this one poetic metaphor. Okay, so to really get a handle on the metaphor, the song first grounds us in something brutally, brutally real. We're talking about the cold, physical finality of death, and it does it using imagery you can almost touch and feel. You know, the lyrics are just saturated with these tangible sensory details. You can almost feel the cold earth. You can picture someone etching a name into stone. You see the wilting flowers. It all paints this incredibly vivid, bleak picture of a gravesite, which really hammers home that feeling of absolute finality. And here's the crucial point. This is the real gut punch. It's not just a person being buried here. The lyrics are telling us that the love itself is being entombed. The entire connection, the whole relationship, everything they shared, it's now 6 feet under, totally isolated and alone. But here's the thing. Even with that harsh, physical end, the song makes it crystal clear that something is left behind. There's this haunting, intangible presence that just lingers long after the burial.
And this is where the central conflict of grief really comes into focus. On one side, you've got the raw physical pain, the finger scars from digging in the dirt, the cold stone. But on the other side, you've got these ghostly remnants, an echo that's fading, dreams turned to ash, a voice that was once a flame. It's a battle between what your body knows is gone and what your mind just refuses to let go of.
This line just perfectly captures that core paradox of grief, doesn't it? It's that impossible feeling of trying to reconcile that someone is absolutely physically gone, but at the same time, they are relentlessly, persistently present inside your own head. So, okay, now we have these two warring realities, right? The cold, hard grave and the persistent, haunting memory. The point where those two things collide, well, that's the very heart of the song. The grave of my words. It's all about speaking into a complete void. It's that devastating feeling that every word of love you have, every cry of grief, every single thing you want to say is just lost. It's swallowed by the silence of death, because the one person who gave those words meaning is gone. The words themselves essentially die right along with them. It's this idea that to lose a person is to lose the one true audience for your heart. And so the song describes this futile, repeating ritual. The singer keeps writing, keeps speaking out to the person they lost, even though they know it's a completely hopeless act. It's this desperate performance of communication that is just destined to fail over and over and over again. And this is the result. This is the bottom line. Communication dies. And that space that was once filled with conversation and connection and love, it's now just silence. The person has literally become the tomb for every word left unsaid and every word that can no longer be heard. So where does all this pain and futility leave the singer? Well, in the final verses, you can feel that desperate struggles start to shift. It begins to move toward this quiet, somber kind of resignation. So first, even those incredibly powerful memories, the echoes and ghosts that were haunting the narrator, they start to weaken. They just can't maintain their hold forever. Like the song says, the memory itself has finally lost its fight to stay present. And with that, the lingering presence of the loved ones starts to recede. It's not an intense, haunting echo anymore. Instead, it becomes what the lyrics call a ghost that fades away, less of an immediate torment and more of a distant, faint apparition. And finally, the song leaves us with this quiet admission of acceptance. There's this recognition of the sorrowful, maybe even fated, nature of their love and its end. It's a final acknowledgement of a story that was, perhaps, always bound for this painful conclusion. At the end of the day, Grave of My Words just masterfully illustrates how grief can feel like the death of communication itself. And it leaves us with a really difficult, lingering question. If our words of love can't reach the person they were meant for anymore, how do we keep that love and their memory from fading into that same silence too?